Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farrah. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
From Hogan Road, no place I'd rather be. In somewhat of a deserted building, which suits me just fine. Alongside Dylan Denmark, I am the truth teller, Rick Ballou. Tank's all gone. Just like that, he gone. The career of Tank Bigsby. Pretty interesting one here. And I just don't know if he was one of those guys who bought in. I remember he totally flipped out on a tweet I had in camp. And I was on the sideline, and I walked down the second field, and I look up, it's goal line, and Dewey, Andrew Wingard tackles Tank Bigsby, throws him to the surface at the Miller Electric Center. So I automatically tweet out, I said, looks like they're going live, and Dewey just blew up Tank. Well, 20 minutes after practice, Tank goes to his social media and puts a bunch of emojis, and it got a little bit of play because he hadn't tweeted out in a few months, and people were like, "What's going on here with Tank? What's going on in this young man's mind?" I thought at the time that was just a reaction to Dewey. And maybe there was a little something there where they didn't see eye to eye. And, Dewey's had a little bit of a reputation as a guy that goes hard all the time, including in practice. But we discussed this. With the emergence of the rookies, you kind of believe that one of the two was going to go. I thought it would be Travis Etienne before the trade deadline if this football team struggled. Well, they didn't struggle. They won a couple of days ago. All of a sudden now it's Cincinnati and a team that was just awful offensively. Minus 18 yards in the fourth quarter despite the win. I was reading a lot today out of Cincy, and I'll ask Mark Duffner about this. Of course, he spent the last 6 years as a defensive assistant with the Bengals, but there's never been a game where Joe Burrow has been bad production-wise, and he's done it for a couple of weeks. History tells us that Joe Burrow does bounce back, and that he will have a good football game. Now, history also, can be, streaks can come to an end, or situations can come to an end. I'll certainly, most of my conversation with Mark Duffner, and obviously with him being a defensive mind, is going to be on how the Jaguars looked defensively on Sunday and what he expects now against the Cincinnati Bengals. But, I think with Tank, because I felt he had a really good camp. And, I said it consistently. In my opinion, the running back position group was the best group there. They were solid, 5 deep, and they all look good. I just don't think Bigsby is the classic Liam Cohen type of running back. He's basically a 2-down back, and he can be effective. Okay, running the football. And, for the record, I thought he would have the most carries and he would have the most yardage this year in Jacksonville. Etienne had a fantastic July and August. He did, and he continued it in game 1. But I just think Bigsby, who's not a great pass protector, and both rookies are, okay, and he doesn't have hands. How many times have I said on this show that Tank Bigsby has feet for hands? Okay, that's a problem. Liam Cohen with design screens and everything else. Now all of a sudden he's got Etienne, he's got Tootin, and he's got Allen Jr., 3 guys that he absolutely does trust when it comes to throwing the football. The other part of it, I want to be fair. I don't know for sure But it's never a good look when you run off the field and your team is celebrating a win and you get up and run away from that. That's not good, okay? I mean, I understand him being pissed, right? He didn't come in until very late. He only got, 5 carries, 12 yards. Game was basically over. They inserted Allen Jr. in on third down before he got an opportunity. But you just don't want that around the locker room. I'm not going to sit here and say that he was as bad of a teammate as like a Roy Robertson Harris or Jared Odrick or Chris Clemens or so. I'm not going to go down that road because that'd be unfair for Tank Bigsby. But that's not a good look. And that is something that this football team has tried to do. It's why they brought in, I think I had 47 new players on their 90-man roster. I want to say right now it's 27. It goes to 28 with the addition of Cody Schrader, who I don't know a whole heck of a lot about. 5 foot and 1/8 inches, 202 pounds out of Missouri. He was on the practice squad in 24 for San Francisco. Then went over to the Rams and was there last year as well. He actually was inserted in the final game of the year. So he's played 1 NFL game, had a carry for 3 yards and a reception for 6 yards. I'll tell you what, I'm surprised about that. Now, I trust it because it's where James Gladstone was. So I trust the move. But I am surprised because I thought when it came down last night late in our show that, Tank was being moved. One of the aspects of this decision that I really considered was, is there a team interested in Jaquindon Jackson? Therefore, they would pull him up to the 53-man roster, but that's not the case. He remains on the practice squad, and again, they do add Cody Schrader. That move made right after the trade, which did produce a 5th and 6th round pick. Apparently, it can become a 4th round pick. I'll give you the details on that. It's based on production, and we'll share that with you momentarily. Not production for Tank Bigsby, but production with another player. Philly had 4 5th round picks, and they now have 3. And I want to say Jacksonville now with 14 picks next year. 14 of them. I mean, this is crazy. They don't have a first rounder, but you do have 14 overall selections. I believe that is a number. I'm going to say that's unofficial, but I think I am correct with that. Does Tank Bigsby love football? Did Tank Bigsby raise the floor? Was Tank Bigsby, quote unquote, intangibly rich? Did he fit into those categories? I remember when they moved Leonard Fournette right before the start of the year, right? I mean, Fournette had just had more than 1,700 yards from the line of scrimmage. Think about that. 1,700. And they couldn't get anything for him. They knew he was a bad teammate. They knew he would be bad in the locker room, that team was going to lose a tremendous amount of games, and they just didn't need to have him around. That's one thing. But the other side of, if you are winning games and you got unhappy guys in your locker room, okay, who feel like they are now the victim, I think there have been cases forever where because of that, guys get moved. And that's what you did see with Tank Bigsby. So the kick return situation, I would imagine that's fluid, right? Tootin actually dropped a ball, picked it up, but he's going to be there. And I would assume it's Parker Washington who will be your, kick return coming up Sunday in Cincinnati. So we have all that to look at, and certainly we're going to do that over the next several hours. But once again, James Gladstone, man, just making all sorts of moves. And how about his relationship with Philadelphia? I mean, for him to get a draft pick for Fred Johnson, who was another guy who kind of fit what I just said. And, we talked about that really throughout the entire course of training camp. Fred Johnson had false start after false start. His body language didn't look necessarily good. It almost felt as though maybe after winning the Super Bowl, I don't want to say he mailed it in, But a lot of people projected him to win the starting left tackle job, and he did not. He just didn't look good. And they actually got a pick for him, 7th-round pick. So turn around, make another deal with Philly, as we do know. And now that's going to produce a 5th and 6th-round selection. All right, opening comments are brought to you by the good folks over at Miscellaneous Vision. Just another, brutal day as far as the rain. A lot of fun, though. It's like it doesn't matter. I mean, you can rain all you want. This can be Portland, Oregon, for all you care. As long as the Jaguars win, it's like it doesn't even matter. I mean, this weather, can you imagine what it would have been like if they lost? Well, of course you can imagine what it looked like because it felt like it rained every single Monday a year ago. We're going to get rain here in Duval, but hopefully you can see, okay? If not, I tell you all the time, let me do it once again. Miscellaneous Vision. Check him out online. You can also, as always, make an appointment. Get your eyes checked. You may need a new prescription. You may be dealing with allergies right now. You itchy, you're scratching your eyes and you have redness in your eyes. It may be a simple allergy. Okay, there could be something a little bit more concerning. If that's the case, why would you delay it? Get there now. Get with Dr. Neo Jimenez, Dr. Catherine Jimenez, and Dr. John Hunt, and they will absolutely steer you in the right direction. You may not need surgery. There may be a simple remedy if surgery is needed. Well, the 3 doctors I mentioned, they've done this for more than 37 years. Check them out online, Jimenez Vision. You can also go to Instagram and get them at Jimenez Vision. You can get all of the testimonials there as well. All right, we're busy. We are really, really, really busy. I love it. I just, winning games just makes everyone that much happier. And, this is a tough putt now. You're going into Cincy, and they won, but they feel as though they lost, if that makes any sense. It was a putrid effort against Cleveland. So you know that they're going to do everything that they can to try to respond here and get something going offensively. It is a huge game in week 2 for the Jaguars. Let's break that down on the other side. Mark Duffner spent 50 years as a coach, college and pro, including the last 6 years. He was in Cincinnati as a defensive assistant, and he joins us next. We'll talk about the Jaguars' victory over their victory 2 days ago and what that meant, getting it done against Carolina, and certainly what's next with the Cincinnati Bengals. So all of that coming up on Into the Night. It's good to have you with us.
There's a key that opens a very special door. The Jaguars locker room. Go in the locker room with Hayes Carline to get closer to the Jags. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, October 3rd through 5th at Timuquana Country Club. Catch the new community concert series on the 17th hole after play, featuring country artists Low Cash and Love and Theft. Public parking is free with complimentary tournament access for military, courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get tickets now for the Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, starting at just $25 at Ticketmaster.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through September 30th. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
XL Primetime is back weekdays noon to 2, and on Wednesdays, join Dr. George Bari at 1:20 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Make sure you catch Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime Wednesdays at 1:20 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
As
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Well, now you can. This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee, just an hour north of Jacksonville in Folkestone. With only 250 cabins at full build-out, it's a rare chance to live off-grid, but not alone, in a community grounded in nature, food, and purpose. The amenities include a 2,300-acre hunting lease. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Ballou here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Boye Aluakan was a force on defense for Jacksonville. The 6'2 linebacker recorded 10 tackles and forced a fumble to go along with an interception in what was a spectacular day on his part. He was the fence on defense, and he's your Superior Fence and Rail's Defensive Player of the Game.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Into the Night is brought to you by Alexander Law Practice. I'm going to tell you much more about them in just a couple of minutes. Jacksonville last night makes a move. Tank Bigsby to Philly. They acquire a 5th and 6th round pick from Philadelphia. Next year, they have 13 picks in next year's draft. Incredible. Let's bring in Mark Duffner, who spent 50 years as a coach, college and pro, including his last 6 in Cincinnati, his senior defensive assistant, and he joins Rick Ballou. Mark, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Rick, and I really look forward to being with you tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to talk with you and good to sit next to you in the press box and learn more about the Jaguars defensively. Just overall, I think 17, 18 plays perhaps. Actually, it might have been a few less than that in base, but 26 or 27 both in nickel and in dime. So 3 different coverages. It was expected. Overall, what did you see, Mark, with this Jaguars defense on Sunday?
Well, just as you said, I was impressed with them. I really was, and they start off. They struggled Rick, a little early in the game and on first down in terms of the run game. They were getting Carolina was getting 5 yards here, 6 yards here, whatever the case may be. But they got that fixed. The thing that caught me and impressed me the most was, number one, they were able to get the running game stopped eventually. They wound up with the 3 takeaways, which everybody wants to get. And takeaways, when you win that battle, your chances to win the game are the best, and that's probably the best, telltale for that. The offense scored 10 points off of that. I thought that, that fourth down stops were also impressive. That was 2 more scoring opportunities they kept them from getting. I was impressed with a lot of that. They were good on sudden change. They were good at 2 minutes at the end of the half. They had, I thought their tackling for the first game was very, very good. They were good in the red zone. As you mentioned, in terms of the mix, he mixed up the game. I thought Anthony called a good game. He mixed up run pressure. He mixed up zero blitz, where the maximum blitz, where they're sending everybody. They got hits on the quarterback. They had pass rush games. Very few explosives. They had a run, one of the scrambles that Young had, and he hit about 3 of them in the game, but the quarterback scrambled for 22. That was 1 run explosive. Cuba Hubbard had another plus run, but really just 2 run issues and no real glaring run fit problems. And then Ted McMillan, the wideout, had a pass for 21 yards, and that was it there. So that's indicative of people being in the right place, people knowing what their assignment was, that they didn't have mental errors or assignment busts. So overall, I think a very positive, start for the defense.
Mark Duffner, our guest. I'm glad you mentioned the 2 turnovers on downs, because we know about the 3 takeaways. It's really 5 takeaways, because Jacksonville defensively was 2 for 2 defending Carolina on fourth down. In this football game, you talked about rotation. I looked at the snap count. It was really intriguing to me. Last year was really bizarre around here with Ryan Nielsen, the way that he substituted. It looked problematic right out of the gate. Mark, in my opinion, Campanelli rotated players in more than I expected. Is this, in your opinion, going to be the norm? Was humidity a factor as the reason why he did that 2 days ago? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think, Rick, probably a little bit of everything. I think humidity was perhaps a factor, because it was awful hot and humid, as we both know. And I think he also may still be trying to determine the best mix of guys in terms of, there's still competition perhaps at some of the spots. I think we saw that. And so, making sure that he has the best run guys in there when he's anticipating run downs, and maybe the best pressure group when he has thoughts in terms of pass. So I think he may still be, toying with the personnel to determine the best group of guys to have on the field when, whatever situation faces. I was impressed with how he used the guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, he had a couple snaps late in the game on dime defense. He had Dewey Wingard in there really as a linebacker. Yeah, he came in and played linebacker for him. And by the way, he personally had, I thought, a really good game. He had 8 tackles. He had the interception for a touchdown that got called back because of I think it was a penalty on Murray. But I thought his mixing of personnel, in addition to the mix of his calls, as the game went on. Bryce Young became very aware of coverage and rush working together, especially the pressure. And, you could see it affect his play. And so I kudos to him, to Anthony and the rest of the staff and their players for what I thought was you give up 10 points, you give 3 takeaways back, you get 2 fourth down stops. Shoot, that's a pretty good day's work, so kudos to them.
Let's move on to Cincinnati, because, Mark, we know you spent your last 6 years there as the senior defensive assistant. And, I was reading a lot of material. I began today on Cincinnati, and one thing that kept coming up is that Joe Burrow and the offense, they've never consistently had 2 bad games in a row. Sunday was really bad, including minus 18 yards in the fourth quarter. So, looking at Burrow and those wide receivers, what can defensively the Jaguars expect this Sunday?
Well, I'm guaranteeing you that based on what you just mentioned about their effort in the Cleveland game, and Cleveland's got a darn good defense, but based on their shouldn't say their effort, based on their production in that game, you're going to get Cincinnati's best shot. That was not up to their standard and by any way, shape, or form. And I know how Joe Burrow thinks, and I know how he prepares, and we'll get his best game, to date, I'm sure. And the same thing with the wideouts. T. Higgins and Jamar, they're on a day off like today, I guarantee you they all were in the walkthrough area working on technique, working on ball skills, working on things that they don't have to do because it's a day off, but they're in there doing the extra. So I have to say, I'm watching that game. I studied it, the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. I was kind of intrigued that Cincinnati went into the game with as much emphasis on the run game. They, in the first 15 plays of the game, I'll bet they ran. In fact, I know they ran like 9 or 10 times trying to get the ball and get Chase Brown off the ground in terms of the running game. And it worked a little bit on the first drive. They scored on the first drive. But after that, Cleveland kind of shut down that run game. They only averaged 2 yards a rush on 20-plus carries. So, I think that trying to get balance in the offense is what I know Zach and the offensive staff would like to have. But struggling to run the ball was a concern that I'm sure they're going to work on also.
I watched Cincinnati play a lot of football, but I don't know anything about them compared to you, who spent the last 6 years there. I'm trying to remember. We know we've heard that there are problems in Cincinnati with the offensive line, but how is Joe Burrow when teams blitz him? And do you expect more of that with Anthony Campanelli on Sunday?
Well, Joe Burrow against the blitz is deadly. I mean, first of all, he's able to see it well. He's able to pick it up well. He's able to get the ball out of his hands to all the weapons that they've got. T. Higgins is a sure catch guy who will go up for the ball. Jamar Chase, I've never seen anybody, the first tackler, make a tackle on him. He's always made the first defender miss. Coupled with, they've got Andre Yoshi in there as a third receiver, then the tight ends, Gesicki, and they added Noah Fant. He's got weapons all over the place. And then he's also got Chase Brown and Samaje Perine as running backs that are good receivers and good protectors. So they work hard on blitz pickup. Now, the test will be in the offensive line, which they've had issues with in the past, and in fact, Cleveland sacked Joe 3 times in the most recent game, and Joe took a heck of a hit in that game. In fact, that's why I kind of affectionately called him Butkus my whole time there, because he's tough as nails. But
he is. Yeah.
No, he really is, Rick.
Yeah.
But he's able to, he welcomes blitz, and his thought process is, hey, if they want to try to blitz us, we're going to make them pay. So I think Anthony, I was impressed in how he distributed his calls against Carolina in terms of coverage and pressure. And this will be a big challenge for him, as he can see how they have made progress against pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how this all evolves. But I know that Cincinnati will have the desire to move and do a lot more in terms of productivity than they did against Cleveland.
Yeah, good point. All right. Hey, final question for you, Mark Duffner, our guest. You only got 6 defensive snaps out of Travis Hunter. In a way, it's almost a check the box where you didn't have to use him a lot when you look at the grind of a 17-game schedule. I would imagine that this is a fluid situation and that you could see much more of him this Sunday against these very good Cincinnati wide receivers.
I think you're dead on, Rick. And I think part of the utilization of Hunter last week defensively was hampered a little bit because he'd missed 10 days in preparation of that first game. He got some reps in preparation for Carolina. As you mentioned, he had the 6 snaps in the game. I would suspect that that'll spike up for sure. And he'll be a factor. He can, he's got the skills to disrupt anybody, and he'll have a challenge against these wideouts, but they'll have a challenge against him. And I think too, the way that Campbell played, the way that Jordan Lewis played, last week in terms of the corner positions, that's good. I think that we're going to see some interesting matchups. I really want to see, I want to see Josh and I want to see Trayvon show up in terms of putting pressure on the quarterback. There's two edge guys right now that the Bengals will have to, reckon with, and I think that they can, put pressure and cause issues in terms of affecting the quarterback. So this will be an interesting game to watch in the line of scrimmage on both sides. I'd like to see, the Jaguar running game get going again like they just did, because it was prolific as crazy. And yet the Bengals did a nice job stopping the Browns' run game. Yeah. So, there'll be a lot to be determined in the trenches, as there always is.
Mark Duffner, ladies and gentlemen, 50 years as a coach, including right here in Jacksonville as the linebackers coach, last 6 years in Cincinnati as the senior defensive assistant. Mark, always a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate being with you.
There he goes. Mark Duffner. Good stuff there. You don't blitz Joe Burrow. I honestly didn't know. I covered the Jags. I watch a ton of football. It was known you don't blitz Peyton Manning, he'll kill you. You don't blitz Tom Brady, he'll kill you. But you just heard what Mark Duffner said about Joe Burrow. It doesn't mean that they won't try to do something at one particular point, but it feels like, can you get home with 4 or maybe 5 against that Cincinnati offensive line? All right. Tonight's show brought to you by Alexander Law Practice. You can check them out online, alexanderlawpractice.com. If you're alone, okay, you're injured, all right, personal injury, maybe it was in a car accident or whatever it may be, and you may think there's no way or nowhere to turn, you're wrong. 400-6600, free call. First thing at Alexander Law Practice, you can get an immediate phone call return. Then they're going to discuss what happened. They're going to be very creative in looking at your case. They're going to give you individualized care that you deserve, and then fire away. You're injured. You can't work. Your car doesn't work. It needs to be fixed. You'll never come out of pocket. Everything is obviously settled at the very end of your case, but you never have to come up front with any money whatsoever. Have the good folks at Alexander Law working for you. Any type of question that you have is valid, okay? Ask. Fire away. 2 ways to do it. 400-6600, free call, free consultation, and alexanderlawpractice.com. All right, we got much more to do. Let's get you involved in this rotation a little bit, whether you're a crafty lefty or whether you're a flame-throwing righty. Let's get you in. 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Also, let's say hello to those on YouTube tonight. Just go to 1010XL into the night.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Hey, it's Lauren Brooks. Looking and feeling great isn't just for women. Hello Smooth Med Spa has something for everyone. Laser hair removal, wrinkle smoothing, skincare, and more. With over 400 plus 5-star reviews and over a decade in business, they know their stuff. Book now at hellosmooth.com.
It's the start of our favorite season in Jacksonville, football season. Let's get hyped and let's get the home in tip-top shape and let's get that house zero-resified. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, they'll take care of you. Call the folks at Zero Res right now, 287-5727. Ask for the 1010XL special. Get your 3 rooms of carpet cleaned at $139 plus a 4th room free. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Get down to the bank Sunday, September 21st, as your Jaguars face off with division rivals, the Houston Texans. Celebrate Hispanic heritage and witness history as the Jaguars take the field for the first time this season in the legendary Prowler throwback jerseys. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kick by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at Everbank Stadium.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z, the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the Jags O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Football is back, and so is Prize Picks. You know what that means. It's time to play and win with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. Will DJ Lagway throw for more than 270.5 yards against Long Island? Will Jeremiah Smith have more than 1.5 touchdown catches against Texas? Will Cade Klubnik throw more than 2.5 touchdown passes against LSU? It's just that simple. But here's the best part. Prize Picks offers an injury insurance reboot. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks invented Flex Play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. All Prize Picks withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code 1010XL and get $50 instantly when you play 5. That's 1010XL to get $50 instantly when you play 5. Prize Picks. Good to be right.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Do you want to get rocked?
Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars do not have a first-round pick next year. We know that. They gave it up in the Travis Hunter deal. They have their own second and third-round pick. They have 2 third-round picks they picked up from Detroit. They have their own 4th and 5th round pick. They also have 5th round picks from Minnesota and Philadelphia. They have a 6th round pick from Philadelphia. They have their own 7th round pick, and they have 3 other 7th round picks, Philly, Detroit, and Houston. The Houston one, I believe, was involved in the Christian Kirk deal. You see this, Dylan, that after week 1, Jaguars went from 80-1 to 55-1
for the Super Bowl
to win the Super Bowl.
Wow, I did not see that.
The biggest jump was the Colts. They went from 150-1 to 66-1, and the Raiders went 150-1 to 100-1. Those who did fall were the Lions. Wow, they went from 12-1 to 20-1, and the Giants went from 201 to 250-1. So. Some stuff there. Yeah, we'll really, and I just did most of it with Mark Duffner there on Cincinnati, but, we'll begin to really hammer the Bengals beginning tomorrow. There's no question about that. But, it's amazing the consistency with this offense and Burrow. He just does not have 2 bad games in a row. And that has been consistent throughout his career. So anyway, that is something to take a look at. All right, let's, we got a ton to do here, no doubt. And, the Bigsby situation, it just feels like this team is constantly evolving. And they're trying to find ways to make this football team better. Does this make this year's football team better? That's a question we don't know. I mean, in my opinion, if you want to beat Cincinnati, you have a better chance with Tank Bigsby than without Tank Bigsby. Well, they just showed a couple of days ago that they had no problem beating Carolina, basically without Tank Bigsby. All right? Travis Etienne all of a sudden becomes your bell cow. He becomes, I guess, a two-down back. And will they play him on third downs? Will they rotate with him? And LaQuint Allen Jr. on third downs? Is that more of a, down in distance situation, depending on what Allen can give you? And Allen had a reception. Obviously, he was involved in pass protect. He had a 6-7 yard carry in his only tote. But here's the other way of looking at it, okay? And I hate to be the guy, but I'm just putting out situational football for you. If something happens to ETN, you have one career carry in between Tootin and Allen Jr., and you add Cody Schrader, who I think would be, that's going to be a game day scratch. At least that's my opinion, that'll be a game day scratch. And then, you'll figure out, you're going to bring Cole Van Lannon into the mix. Are you going to bring Mason Smith into the mix? But Corey Schrader, one career rush. Game 17 last year for the Los Angeles Rams. And if you look at, Jaquindon Jackson, so you got, you're four backs now, okay, after ETN. One carry for Allen Jr., Tootin, and, one carry for Schrader, and 0 carries, as we do know, for Jackson, who remains on, the practice squad. Now, I feel more comfortable. How do I want to say that? If there was one position in the NFL where you could kind of get away with that, if it makes any sense, I think it's running back. I really do. Tootin ended up having 3 carries in the second half. So, my bad. 4 combined carries with Tootin and Allen. Tootin had 3 carries for 11 yards, including a long of 8. And, all right, so you have 4 career carries with your backups. I'd also kind of like to say that they haven't acted like rookies from the moment that they got here. It feels like they really embraced the situation. And, the end result of that is they are getting an opportunity. But that is going to absolutely increase. I mean, Etienne had 60 carries. I don't think Travis Etienne's the guy they're looking at that they want carrying the football 20-plus times a game. So they ran it 32 times. They passed it 31 times. They would love to be able to keep that type of balance. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be, 60-40 pass. That's just the league. But you're going to need more carries coming from these 2 young guys. So that's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on as we move throughout the course of the season. All right, much more to do. Niles Lawrence Stample going to join me at 7. Some Florida State talk coming up. A little bit of college football as well in our second hour. But let's absolutely get you involved. 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Also on YouTube, 1010XL into the night.
It's a clash of the big cats, spots, and stripes. Who rules the jungle? Find out Sunday at 1. Jaguars, Bengals, on the home of the Jaguars, 1010XL.
Here's hoping for a Raise the Roof football season. And here's knowing Next Gen Roofing is up for any job. Game day or storm season, you need a team you can trust. And you know what? You don't need a glitzy roofing company. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, no nonsense. Solid roofs at competitive prices and a commitment to the First Coast community. Right now, save up to $300 on your next roof replacement. When you need a roof, you need Next Gen Roofing. Team with you, it's a win every time.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Gator fans, Dylan Denmark here. Join me Saturday night at 7:30 for the Florida LSU game at Poor Tap Room downtown. You could win a national championship commemorative basketball Saturday night at Poor Tap Room.
Frank Frangie telling you about Awaken 180. You know, my daughter has done so well. I'm so proud of Amber. Can you believe she's lost 50 pounds in 2 months? And she's really proud of that. You can as well. Call 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
The Money Pages brings you the Red Zone featured player of the week. Number 1, Jaguars running back Travis Etienne Jr. Travis played college ball for the Clemson Tigers and was drafted by the Jags in the first round in 2021. Pick up this week's Jags game program with a commemorative ticket of Travis Etienne inside. Download the Money Pages app for weekly specials. Money Pages, official sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee. Man, it's incredible. Just an hour north of Jacksonville and Folkston. I was so impressed. It's about connecting with nature, with food, with community. And now you can own your very own handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm. Everything you need is there. You'll hardly need to go grocery shopping. Learn more about all of it at okefarm.com. That's OKEfarm.com, the farm at Okefenokee.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff and Art and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911, garagedoor911.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
Trevor Lawrence, along with the Teal and Black, didn't delay their offense Sunday. They just rained pain upon the opposition. Lawrence led the squad on an 8-play, 35-yard drive in the second quarter, capped off by a Hunter-Long 6-yard score to give the team a 10-3 advantage. The 4-minute drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
George Kittle to the IR, so that is attrition. That's why our preseason picks, our prognostication are basically irrelevant. It becomes the week of the game. You got to look at the health. You got to look at the situation. Kittle out. Big blow for San Francisco. Purdy's beaten up, so, we'll see what happens. Of course, that's a long ways away. You've got Cincy on Sunday. Looking forward to getting back out to Cincinnati. Always one of my favorite roadies. I think it's an underrated city. And you cross the river there, even if you go over to Kentucky. That's pretty cool. And it's a great college football Saturday, so I'm getting out of here early. So I'll be able to watch all of those games. And then, of course, Houston here in a week. But that happened today. Your Gator, Brandon Bett, apologized for sluicing in the face of an unidentified player at the University of South Florida.
Yes, I saw that. I think it was yesterday. Put it on the Instagram. It was very sincere, kind of.
Sluice can't be just normal spit, right? Sluice is only something that occurs while you're chewing tobacco, I believe. At least my definition.
I would know.
Yeah. You still chew?
No. I just been around a bunch of rednecks. I just know what that's like.
Today, it's ironic I say that because today is actually the day that I lost a dear friend, Doug Zani, who was the assistant super over at Pablo Creek forever. And he passed on this day from chewing tobacco. It was just frightening. I mean, to this day, it just drives me insane. Can't handle when people say everything happens for a reason. That's the most bogus statement of all time. It's so untrue. And anyway, but that's when I stopped chewing tobacco, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. If you told me to give up alcohol or give up cigars, and gambling was easy to give up, but chewing tobacco was so hard. And especially on the drive home after work and, after a good meal. But anyway, rest in peace, Doug. No doubt changed me. Hopefully it will change you. With all of the internet investigators and gumshoe detectives, they still haven't been able to identify Philadelphia Karen. You know that?
I've seen this. I've seen a little bit. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, there's so much on the internet. When I see stuff, I wonder. My first thought a lot of the time is this real? And that's usually not a good thing.
Well, I hate that aspect of it. I mean, I can't even. When I saw something today about an AP voter who voted for Florida, I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't see it anywhere else.
Oh, it's true.
Okay.
Did you see her explanation?
Yeah, I did. But again, I didn't know if it was true.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I looked around and I was like, no, I heard her entire explanation and all of that. But when I got done with it, I'm like, is this legit or is this, AI?
Basically, an AP voter put Florida ahead of South Florida in the AP poll. She's like, it's just whatever. It doesn't really matter.
She should lose her vote.
Yeah. I mean, just
not because she did that with Florida, but because of her explanation of why she did it.
Right. It just discredits. It's not just her, but it just makes everybody else look bad in the media, like that we do.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
For the ones that actually work and put forth the effort.
This AI is bogus. It's awful. I mean, as soon as you sent me the Tank Bigsby trade last night, I was like, is it real? I remember watching Jerry Jones after the Micah Parsons trade, and they had Jerry saying some things, and I was like, damn. Is he really saying that? And then, of course, that was AI. So you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. But, you take the kissing couple at the Coldplay concert, which destroyed those lives, and I hate it. They knew immediately who they were. They can't figure out who Philly Karen is. And they've thrown all sorts of stuff out there. They blamed a couple of ladies who've had to respond and say, that is not me. It's amazing that no one can point to it. And you know what? What she did was awful. It's just terrible. But, I'm also one of those guys that it's like, should you really ruin her life over it? You know what I mean? It was bad. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the home run ball, the father went out, got it, was right next to the chair of Philly Karen. Philly Karen walked over, like she owned the city of Philadelphia and demanded the ball back, and the dad gave it back. And, the kid was rewarded. He came down, got a Bader autograph pad. He got all this stuff, got to meet the players. And it's an awful look. Karens are at times hilarious, at other times just deplorable. But in this situation, man, ruining her life, I think that's a little extreme. All right, let's get ready for our second hour. He is Dylan Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou.
Get hit by the man in the back, Tommy Mack.
I'm bringing you straight to the gridiron to show you what it's like to put on the Jags helmet and pads.
Fridays on Jaguars Today. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Big number one Duval Ford is trusted by Duval families, Duval businesses, and law enforcement across Florida. We're Jacksonville's largest Ford dealer by new Ford sales with the biggest service facility to keep everything in your driveway and in your fleet on the road. Shop Big number one Duval Ford on Cassett Avenue for our low prices and nationally recognized service-first experience. Big number one Duval Ford, proudly serving North Florida since 1916.
Jacksonville, get ready. Comedian Chris D'Elia is coming to Florida Theater November 30th with his brand new tour, Straight Out of the Multiverse.
Like, yo, you can't just make up a saying like you're Yoda and then the conversation's over. You gotta meet someone you talk. And don't tweet a picture of a salad.
It's bold, it's wild, and it's Chris D'Elia like you've never seen him before. Live on stage for one night only. Get tickets now at floridatheater.com. floridatheater.com.
Guess what? That would be random.
Chris D'Elia, November 30th at Florida Theater.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 9, 2018, Chris Boswell misses a field goal in overtime as the Steelers tie the Browns 21-21, ending the Browns' 17-game losing streak.
They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jax, so we gotta play like the experts we are. Now, who are we? Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjax.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Fence problems? The old one falling apart and leaning over? Well, if it's time for a new one, call Duval Fence today at 260-4747 for a quality job. Restore the look and privacy you expect. Trust the experts. DuvalFence.com.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Travis Etienne ran circles around Carolina on Sunday. The teal and black back tallied 143 yards on 16 carries, averaging 8.9 yards per attempt. Number one was the one to lead the squad to 1-0. And he's your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through September 30th. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. 1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Much more on the Jaguars coming up just a little bit. Time to mix in some college football with our good buddy Niall Lawrence Stample. He is our Florida State analyst, also a business owner here in town with NLS Cleaning, and he is with Rick Ballou each and every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Noles Cruise, no other way to say it, just complete dominant effort against East Texas A&M.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, just everyone be able to get involved and the camaraderie. It was a great win.
There have been times, even when they've been really good, a much lesser opponent. We talk about Northern Alabama all the time, the Jordan Travis injury. For one reason or another, they weren't ready playing to the level of competition. That was anything but on Saturday. The first 10 times they touched the football, they scored touchdowns.
Yeah, it's an electric team. I think with the leadership that is being developed every single game, I think this is hopefully what you see consistently. But it's a big test when you go against a team like East Texas A&M to see if we're going to capitalize.
Now, how do you keep that realistic? You beat a good opponent, and it was good to see Alabama bounce back. Ty Simpson was 17 of 17 in Bama's victory over the Louisiana Monroe. I mean, you were supposed to clobber East Texas A&M. How do you kind of settle down and say, okay, big win, but there's still a lot of football left?
I think it's a big part of that is going to be the coaches kind of creating opportunities of leveling them out. And I think a big part of that is just watching the film. I looked at it. We did great. We were very dominant, but there was some missed assignments. There was some missed blocks. There was some things that need to be cleaned up. And I think that's where you want to focus on as a coach and say, hey, how do we clean these things up? Yes, that was great. Love the enthusiasm. I love the dominance as far as the scoreboard, but let's look at the nitty gritty and see how we can perfect everything.
Well, that's good to hear. So what you're saying is despite a dominant win, there's still a lot of coaching that needs to take place with this very young team only playing 2 games.
Oh, so I think there's a lot to get cleaned up. I think that there was missed assignments, there was missed blocks, there was a lot of little things that didn't really get seen just because of how dominant I think we are as a squad. But there was a lot of things there that the coaches will hopefully emphasize. And after hearing what Tony White had to say and hearing what Norvell had to say, I think that those things are actually getting implemented this week as well as going to be next week.
Now, Lawrence Stample, our guest, won a national title with Florida State, also played with the Cleveland Browns. He's our Florida State analyst here on Into the Night with Rick Ballou. 90 players play, 4 quarterbacks. They all get in. I can't imagine what that must be like for the entire program, the entire roster, this early to get all those guys some work. I mean, it's so unheralded. They get no credit for being scout guys, whatever. But I would think it would make their life that much more joyful, getting out of the rack every morning, knowing that you were a part of this victory and how much more that will provide for them moving forward with this team.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a Kent State and East Texas A&M, I think we paid them about $450,000 for them to come in and play us, right? Those things are important for development and for guys and young guys and everything, but I feel like a big part of it is going to be when you have a young player that may have gotten redshirted or they haven't developed yet and they get that opportunity. Yes, it's about showing the coach on the sideline that you're kind of ready for that, but it's really about for your parents in the stands that have been coming there for a year.
Right.
That I'm a dog, right? Mom, I'm a dog. I'm out here and I'm making an opportunity for myself. And when you can see it for yourself, I'm going to show it to you.
Yep.
And that's the opportunity that they got during East Texas A&M. I love to watch it, but that is the real nucleus of why a lot of these players play. So the coaches is great, but it's about mom and the aunts and the uncles that have been supporting them that can actually see this into fruition.
I
love it.
It's my only criticism, and it comes, I believe, on my 6th question. Man, I wanted to see Kevin Sperry play a little bit more. I wanted to see Brock Glenn play a little more. The way that my mind works, if anything happens to Castellanos, you're going to have to pick one of those two and immediately insert them in. I mean, I'm happy for Michael Grant. I love the walk-ons, but he got a lot of playing time. He got most of the 4th quarter. I was like, couldn't we see a little bit more out of the Florida State quarterback backups?
Yeah. I think we definitely could have saw a little bit more. I think they're, as far as divvying up some of that playing time, just because there's not a ton of it. But I also think that it kind of attests a little bit to Gus' future thoughts, right? Like, where are we at in the future? I think Kevin Sperry is definitely going to be a good ball player. I think Brock Glenn, unfortunately, has kind of his role set. I think Gus wants to see what we got. Like, what do we have in the stable? Should we recruit more? Is this going to be one opportunity for us to see this guy play? So I think those are what we're looking a little bit further into the future than actually just right now.
What is amazing to me is if you look at the leading rushers, and again, there's no sample size. There's only been 2 games. But Michael Danzy leads the team in rushing, 4 carries, 109 yards as a wide receiver. Then it's Thomas Castellanos. Then it's your 6th string tailback right here out of I think he's out of Fleming Island, in Samuel Singleton. Those are your top 3 rushers.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of dynamic, especially with obviously Sam Singleton, that big run that he got. And Danzy, obviously, it's just kind of the way that the plays have been formatted, especially for Danzy. Those 2 breaks that he got are just textbook being able to show his speed. It is elite. It's almost weird to watch how quickly he's able to close ground, and those defenders just can't catch him.
Florida State, we talked about it before you came on air. I wish they would keep playing for a little while. That's not the case. We know it's the bye now for them this Saturday. Then it gets, with Kent State, then a Friday night against Virginia, then Miami. Your thoughts on the bye this early in the season for the Noles?
So the bye is going to be important. I think so when you have a bye week early in the season, it obviously it does seem a little bit weird, but it's important. You have a fall camp that is so long that as you go into that fall camp, you roll right out of it into your first game of the season. Obviously, we played Bama. Being able to then play East Texas A&M, get a break, get a real solid break, and then go into Kent State and then play regular conference play. I think the AD absolutely dialed that in because that's what you want. You have a game like East Texas A&M. You're able to get young guys out there, see if you're ready, see if you have some type of capability to be a role player this season. Then you go into the film room, you break it all down, see if you can actually fix some of these things going into Kent State. Are you coachable, right? Can you fix those things and then roll into conference play and see if we can actually get a couple guys, kind of pull them from the bottom?
Unfortunately for Florida State, they lost Roydell Williams and Randy Pittman after the Alabama game. They did not play this past Saturday. Now you lose Squirrel White fairly early in this contest on Saturday with a hand. Reports out of God's country said that they believe he's going to be all right. Hopefully Virginia, if not certainly Miami. But, all of a sudden you're down 3 starters already on offense. You've only played 2 games.
Yeah, it's something that you never really want to see. I think things can definitely be worse, right? So I think just being optimistic there, as well as being able to have this break, us coming up into Kent State, again, that kind of pushes that narrative of trying to make sure we are forcing young guys on the field. It was something that he got criticized a ton for last year, not playing enough young guys, believing too much in guys that haven't really believed in them or haven't even proven themselves. I think him making this stance on showing and putting as much young guys as he has in, it's really showing that he is trying to turn a leaf. He is trying to create a new narrative for himself as far as on the recruiting aspect of things, and hopefully it pays dividends down the line as far as longevity is concerned.
I didn't know Tommy Castellanos had that type of an arm. He threw a couple of bombs on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. And they were nice, especially to a big wide receiver that can actually catch the ball. Last year, it sucks. DJ wasn't good, unfortunately, overall. But even when he was good, we didn't have anyone that was considered a actual wide receiver 1. So now for us to be able to have that as well as a quarterback that can throw it, that's what we're playing football. It's a throw and catch game.
Yeah.
We have to be able to have both. So that was awesome to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him air it out a little bit more this next
It's a really interesting time because South Florida's been really involved in this. We know they beat Florida. South Florida goes to Miami this weekend. Of course, the Noles have Miami in a few weeks. Then Florida goes to Miami next weekend. It's like all of these things are kind of adding up. I tell you what is a huge surprise for me is that Florida State has been so dominant early on, and then Florida let one go, and it's like 180 from a year ago with what we were doing with Florida State. It's the same thing the Gators are doing right now when it comes to Billy Napier.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like a full 360, and as Florida left the back end of the season, they looked great. We were like, holy smokes, next year's going to be crazy. And things don't obviously go into fruition the way that you think that they do. But all I do know is that it's hard to beat when you are betting on a horse race. A lot of people will bet sometimes on the horse. You bet on the jockey, right? You bet on the jockey.
I want my jockey puking. I want him puking before he gets on that horse.
Listen.
I want him lighter.
And Norvell is... it's really hard to beat something like that to where you have someone who I think personally have always thought that is a great coach, him be under so much duress, right? Like it's hard to beat. And then you have a quarterback that comes in and is really trying to prove himself. He has all this doubt coming from all these different areas. The perfect storm. I think Norvell has really woken up, and I think that's obviously what we're seeing here come into play. And we'll see if Florida figures out how to kind of figure things out.
Yeah, we'll see. And I'm glad you said that about Norvell because this is this is impressive. It's very impressive as a guy who was certainly criticized Mike Norvell, especially a year ago. I mean, him just overseeing everything that's going on is really working. And again, it's only been 2 games, so you can't get that far ahead of it. But it really feels like Gus smells on in that offense, and Tony White in that defense, he made 2 very good coordinator hires.
Unbelievable. And it's the time and it's the tenure was with Gus earlier in his career, and that relationship obviously stayed intact. I heard something a little earlier today as far as we're going to be moving into is going to be head coaches moving into offensive coordinator jobs or defensive coordinator jobs, because the realm and the whole aesthetic of being a head coach is now not what it used to be. You're having to pander to a lot of these players. And I think we're going to continue to see that. Gus doesn't want to deal with all of those different things and all these different narratives that they have to kind of continue to push towards these kids and these NIL. So if we're able to have more Gus's and more coaches like that fill these roles that are kind of like really simple when it comes to it, and they can kind of get down to the nitty gritty of what they actually love to do, I think it's a great opportunity. And Gus is, I wouldn't be surprised if we have Gus here for a few years.
You know what? That's a great point, because you wonder, is he going to get snatched up again? But because of what you just said, I mean, I have to believe Gus has a ton of money. So it's not a financial situation. Do you want to deal with the new way of college football with NIL and parents and kids? Sure, go out and recruit your players and just run your offense. I certainly do hope you're right. Final one for you, Niall. Your small fraternity of former Florida State players, what's the reaction been like now 2 weeks in?
So I would say, at least for the few guys that I have talked to, I think it's very much reserved. And I do want to make a point. Especially going into the season, I was a little bit skeptical. I saw some good things, but again, there was such a big drastic change that needed to be made that I'm very happy that we made it. But I am very optimistic when it comes to talking about Florida State football. But when I talk about that optimism, I talk about it on a precipice or on a point that there's got to be hard work backed up behind it, right? Like there's no, I think this player is going to be an impact. I think this is going to happen. That all has to happen with significant hard work coming from a coach that has to be able to push it, right? There's nowhere in between. But I talk optimistic about it just because I feel like if Florida State is going to do something, it is going to be great in some capacity. That has to be the thing and the vibe and the energy that we are always pushing towards that program.
All right. Tomorrow morning, NLS Cleaning is power washing Ballou's homestead. Give the listeners the very latest as far as what's going on at Niall Lawrence Stample Cleaning.
Yeah. We're actually coming out. It seems like obviously Rick had a little bit of issues as far as the HOA is concerned.
That's a shock, isn't it?
We do a ton of HOA cleanings as far as driveways, or if the house needs to get cleaned, or any of those situations on top of businesses. So anything large or small, multi-story, 3, 4, 5, 6-story buildings, as well as your mother's back patio to make sure it stays clean for her. We are here to help in any capacity. Give us a call, 904-708-8802. Reach out to us on our website at nlscleaning.net. We would love to help. And yeah, we look forward to your call.
Good to see you. Thank you, Niall.
Good seeing you, Rick.
Niall Lawrence Stample, ladies and gentlemen, national champion at Florida State. Also played on the defensive line for the Cleveland Browns. And as you heard, he is a business owner right here in town. They're going to do my house tomorrow. Actually, they're going to not do my house tomorrow. They're going to do my sidewalk, driveway, and leading up to my front door. Just go to NLS Cleaning on the computer. It's as simple as that, or your phone. All right, let's get back to you. Let's do it now. I got a ton of stuff rolling in on YouTube at 1010XL into the night. Got a ton of stuff coming in on our text line, but it also should include you at 641-1010 on brought to you by Lifetime Enclosure. All right, so give us what you believe and what you think after the trade here with Tank Bigsby, the Jaguars, and anything you just heard Florida State related. That's certainly good. Get to us, and we'll take your texts and everything on YouTube on the other side.
A great drive takes more than a set of wheels.
Fully loaded, I think is the term.
Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville brings you the drive of the game.
Just one thing. Yeah. Don't push any of the buttons on that car.
On 1010XL.
Jax is more than a city. Beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. We haul construction debris or property cleanouts for managers, owners, and realtors. We do it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Now, the Hurricane Report. Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
The Miami Hurricanes easily took down in-state foe Bethune-Cookman on Saturday 45-3. Jacksonville's own Carson Beck now has 472 yards with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions this season. Next up for the Canes, a huge one against Red Hot USF at home. The Hurricane Report's brought to you by Performance Painting.
Hop in, I'm driving. I'm Lauren Brooks, and I'm behind the wheel as we cruise down Lawrence Lane in search of the day's most talked about sports stories. Driven by Mazda at the Avenues, 2 to 4 weekdays on 1010XL.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Introducing the Jags Stack at Firehouse Subs. A sub so bold, we had to name it after the team that roars. Packed with protein and made to satisfy a football-sized appetite. It's stacked with honey ham, smoked turkey, and roast beef. Topped with provolone fresh veggies and our new Duval drizzle. Order the new Jags Stack in the app right now. Available for limited time at participating Jacksonville Firehouse Subs restaurants. The hottest subs in
Jacksonville, Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Plan ahead this year and order your home holiday decorating from Kuhn Flowers. They'll take care of all your Christmas tree setup, lighting, and decorating hassles. This is RJ with 1010XL. Call on Kuhn Flowers. They'll do it all this fall.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business. Window World, simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
Summer's wrapping up, and life is picking back up. Early mornings, long days, and a to-do list that doesn't quit. And neither should you. Who has time to slow down due to body pain? That's why there's Aleve to keep you going. With just one pill, Aleve delivers longer-lasting body pain relief per dose compared to other leading OTC branded pain relievers. Aleve helps keep you moving from sunup to sundown with up to 12 hours of pain relief per dose, so you can keep moving and be ready for whatever's next. Use as directed.
1010XL, presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us all better, faster, stronger.
Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
In the Jaguars locker room tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center, so I'll have some fresh sound as the page gets turned to Cincinnati. A lot of people on with their comments about, yeah, the defense did their job, but oh boy. Next week against the Bengals, that's a totally different deal. That includes CRS092 on YouTube at 1010XL Into the Night. Rick and his guest, Duffner, Mark Duffner, are right, though. Blitzing Burrow is dangerous. Is trying to blitz Manning. I feel like Coach Campanelli has a few things up his sleeve. Well, that's the whole exotic blitz. Can they fool him with 4? Can they fool him with stunting? Can they fool him with whatever it may be as far as their defensive design? I know Halloran dropped the numbers. I'm going to find those for you in a minute. I don't know how Halloran did as far as their defensive sets and how many times they rushed 4 or more. But that was an inferior product. It was an inferior product, but it's an NFL team, and you take it and you run with it. You just know it's a completely different situation going to Cincy. You know, I say it all the time. Last year's team accepted losing. The fans were still pissed, but I felt like in the locker room a year ago, they were like, hey, we put forth the effort. We played hard. We only lost by, less than a touchdown. Where I'm getting the feeling that in Cincinnati, it's the exact opposite. They won against Cleveland, but they're acting as though they lost. That's going to be difficult. All right, just a couple of minutes ago, obviously, we talked some college football. The latest numbers here now, as far as moving into the college football playoff to snatch one of those 12 spots, Utah goes from 100 to 50. That's 50 to 1 odds. South Florida went from 1,000 to 200. Okay, Fallers, the Gators, go from 33 to 66. SMU from 100 to 250. And how about this? 64 teams right now are already off the board as far as not having any hope whatsoever to getting to a college football playoff. Your leader's still Ohio State at plus 525 to the dollar. You lay down $100, you get back 525. Then it's Penn State plus 575, Georgia plus 600, Texas plus 650. LSU plus 850. Let's see, around here, Bama 14 to 1, so that's 1,400. Clemson 20 to 1, so that's 2K. 22 to 1 is Miami. And Tennessee 50 to 1, Florida State 55 to 1. Florida, as I said, 66 to 1. So the very latest there. See anything you like? I know you got a trigger figure when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like right now the best odds would probably be LSU. Going into Death Valley at Clemson, what they did was pretty impressive, and that defense is pretty good. I mean, that's been the issue the last couple of years with Brian Kelly at LSU. Offense has been good. Defense has been the issue. Defense looks like it's no longer the issue.
So far, and this is my fear, by the way, and I'm going to get to your text. I hope college football doesn't turn the way of college basketball. And Florida, you just want a title and let it sit for a bit. But I can't imagine that title meant as much to you as the 04s because you recruited them and you developed them. Now, it's been a long time. It's been, 20 years since you won a title. So, yeah, the title's great. It's great for the school. But you understand what I'm trying to say? And the quality of play has dropped immensely in college basketball. They're not nearly as talented as far as teams because you don't have the years of experience and depth with everyone coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I hate to say this, but I think the quality of the product in college football is not going to be as nearly as it nearly as good as it was 5 years ago and prior to that because it's the same deal. It's transfer guys coming in. It's not a lot of experience playing game after game after game. Look at all these top-rated quarterbacks. I mean, you could have like 5 or 6 going in the first round this year. Look at all the early quarterbacks listed on the Heisman. How many of them have stayed at just one school? It's insane. So, the game is still great. You love it when your college is doing well, your university is doing well, but the quality of the product, I think, is going to dip. My point is that right now I don't think there's a great team. I'm not looking at a team right now saying, "What? There you go. They stopped time." Now, it's only 2 weeks in, but that's just the way that I feel. 86-30, Ballou, the middle of the field was open. Carolina exploded a few times. Joe Burrow will light it up. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not. And the way that my mind works, I would have rather have had Joe Burrow throw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. Maybe they take a little bit of a breather as far as their preparation. If that was the case, the Cincinnati talk and all the media say, you're just going to crush this road team. It's the first ever game for Liam Cohen on the right. But that's not the case. Again, they're acting like they lost over there. So there's going to be, I believe, an intense week, amping up for this game. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the middle part of the field. Yeah, there were a few times where receivers were open. Bryce Young missed some guys on Sunday. I think that's a fair point. 58-30 Blue actually says, Truth Teller, love your take on Bigsby not fitting into the culture and the typical Cohen running back. Totally appreciate the moves that James Gladstone continues to make. They have 13 picks currently in next year's draft, 5 which were original picks. Yeah, I don't know about the culture. I'm just kind of guessing on that. You say it was Lageman who said today that he was the first one to run to the tunnel after the win?
Yeah, he said that.
That's a bad look. I mean, that's a pissed-off, selfish football player. That's a bad look. Yeah, it is. I mean, I used to watch that stuff all the time when I was a sideline reporter for the 8 years. I guess, when the clock ran, this time from the press box, I ran down to get ready to do some interviews. I didn't see it. If Jeff said it, it's true. But I don't know if there's an issue there. I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to find out pretty soon. But I just don't think he fit into the offense. He can't catch. I mean, he can't. You can't trust him when it comes to catching the football. And, his pass protect left a little bit to be desired. He could be really good in Philadelphia. If he becomes the second guy, Philadelphia gets leads or whatever, you want to spell Barkley and you just hand him the football, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Tank has a good year.
Apparently, they brought him in for special teams, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Because Will Shipley's their backup, who, if you remember at Clemson's a pretty decent backup. I mean, he's not going to be a star, but, a good, decent backup in the league. So it wouldn't surprise me if Tank, won that backup job over Shipley eventually.
Someone's asking me about that. I don't know if I want to get into that. No, I don't know if I want to get into that as well. So I appreciate everything you send me, but sometimes I'm just not going to dive into it. 53-51, every game in the NFL is huge. This is a Victory Tuesday for me. 24-hour rule doesn't apply to fans. Go Jags. That may be the best text that I've received in a couple of months. Good for you, 53-51. That is what I scream about all the time. Don't be so quick to get to Cincinnati. Don't be so quick to get to Sunday. Enjoy your Tuesday, even though it's been pouring, even though it's been like Seattle. Actually, you know what it's been like? It's been like London, okay? For you folks who want to go over there and watch a game. You never see, here's my definition of London. You never see the sun, rain, and cold. Go. If you want to go. Have yourself a grand old time. But I love this text. This is exactly what you should be doing. You should be enjoying your Monday and your Tuesday and every day. And again, you know the other side of it. You know what it's like when you lose around here. Enjoy the win. Yeah, I said this with Frank and Hayes at the turn. Yeah, right now Gator fans are upset. Okay, but I still wouldn't be surprised at all if Billy Napier goes and wins at LSU. Or I wouldn't be surprised at all if he loses at LSU, they turn around and go to Miami and win. Okay, he has it in him. He's done it before. You got a great quarterback. Okay, I'm not going to bet on it, but it could happen. But my point is, on the other side of this, Florida State, going through that a year ago, you realize that if you're a Jag Knoll, you were 6-23 last year. Think about how horrifying that is. 6 wins all year for your two teams. 6, 23 losses. So far this year, if you're a Jag Knoll, you're 3-0. Man, it is September 9th, and you already have half the wins that you got during the entire 2024 season. How freaking bizarre is that? So enjoy it, 5351. That was a great text.
Post-game Monday is like digesting a huge day of football. Let's do this. Expert analysis of Sunday's game all day.
It's not great. It's fantastic.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Post-game Monday.
So delicious.
On 1010XL.
This is your escape. This is your next adventure. This is Mazda, and this is Mazda at the Avenues. Lauren Brooks here. Right now, purchase any new Mazda model, and Mazda at the Avenues will match your down payment or your payments for 1 full year. Plus, every new Mazda comes with 3 years, 36,000 miles of maintenance at no additional charge to you. This is luxury, and this is the start of something new. This is Mazda at the Avenues. For complete details, call 904-430-8047.
Introducing the Jag Stack at Firehouse Subs. So bold, it's named after the home team. Stacked with honey ham, smoked turkey, roast beef, provolone, fresh veggies, and the new Duval drizzle sauce. For a limited time at your local Firehouse Subs, there's only one hottest sub in Duval.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Jacksonville was built on specialists. Now the Special Teams Player of the Week, sealed by Superior Plumbing and Pipeline.
Cam Little was huge on Sunday for the good guys. The 22-year-old was perfect on both his field goals as well as his extra point attempts, with his longest field goal being from 47 yards out. Little showed why he was the big cat on campus, and he's your Superior Plumbing and Pipelining Special Teams Player of the Game.
We've all seen great overtime games and thrilling finishes, but when it comes to having a big time, knowing when to say when is key. Budweiser reminds you to win the day and night by designating a driver. That's a victory every time.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Get down to the bank Sunday, September 21st, as your Jaguars face off with division rivals, the Houston Texans. Celebrate Hispanic heritage and witness history as the Jaguars take the field for the first time this season in the legendary Prowler throwback jerseys. Lock in your seats now for a 1 p.m. kick by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at Everbank Stadium.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Just talking about the fans and how you should be relishing in this. I mean, enjoy it. And don't be so, quick to get there. Well, that changes absolutely for the players. As you know, an off day today. But they're back at it tomorrow. Liam Cohen's going to speak at 10:25. A small session open to the media at 11:40. And then we have locker room access from 1:20 to 2:05. And then Trevor Lawrence is going to talk to us at 2:10. So we'll have a lot of fresh stuff tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy tonight. Yeah, I got a good dinner waiting at home from the GF. We're going to watch something special on TV tonight. I can't imagine what it is. I hope it's horror. I hope it ends not happily. But that's just kind of the way I am with stuff like that. What are you going to do? You got 2 days off with no football. Maybe I'll watch some baseball. I'll put that on with no volume. But, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's just nuts. Such a great time of year. And tomorrow is going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting down there to the Miller Electric Center. Quick programming note. Friday we'll be with you 4 to 6 on 1010. All right. That is the drill during high school. That also means I'll be at the Blue Crab House at 7 o'clock. And that was the case last Friday night. No place that I'd rather be on a Friday before getting up early Saturday to fly to Cincinnati. All right, 5602. Any chance we look at somebody like Justin Simmons? Be sure of the safety room, possibly a tight end like Kyle Pitts or Darnell Walker, Pittsburgh, Tyler Higbee, Yannick, Trevor Thornton, Brenton later. You know what? Everything's on the table, 5602. I think Hunter Long's a better pass-catching tight end than perhaps people are aware of. Now, he didn't get any burn on Sunday, and who? What did you say? Was it you who told me the odds on Johnny Munt catching the first touchdown?
No, Hunter Long. I saw it somewhere.
It was Johnny Munt, though.
Okay, hang on. Yeah, it was.
Maybe it was in the press box. It might have been Travis Holmes who told me that in the press box.
I did see that tweet. It was like 150 to 1 or something ridiculous. You would have won a ton of money.
Yeah. Johnny Munt got 33 carries, or 33 snaps, so they think more of him right now as the blocking tight end. And Hunter Long got only 6. But I still think he is a formidable backup tight end. Now, your safety question is legit. Okay, not to say your other isn't legit, but now that the tank move has been made, they have so many draft picks. 13, that they can afford to move a player and a pick and do whatever it may be. I would not be surprised at all if that is the next position that is addressed. Can they find another safety? What do they really believe in Antonio Johnson? Dewey got 63 of the 64 snaps. Okay. The only time off for him was obviously after the pick 6. He needed a blow, so he sat out, one play. That was it for Dewey. And, even though Dewey had a pick 6, I'm still one of those guys who thinks he's a much better safety against the run than he actually is during the pass. Eric Murray is entrenched. Ray Lane contributed big time on special teams. All right. I don't know if he fits into the equation yet. I just don't trust Darnell Savage anymore. I think he's lost a step. And when you talk about getting better on a day-to-day basis and a week-to-week basis, I would not be surprised at all If I was a gambling man, the Tank move last night, the next guy out, in my opinion, would be Darnell Savage. Good question. 0107 Ballou, the type of offense we play now utilizes screens, needs consistent hands for dump off. Passes ET is more of the guy. Hopefully he and Tootin can be years. Freddie and Mojo. Yeah. I mean, they both have really good hands. And, you know, you see a lot of inspiration. The word that I used for that position group during camp was hungry. I mean, it looked like whoever got the ball, they it was like the last ball they were ever going to get. And they really love Allen Jr. How about the confidence they showed by putting him out there as a 7th-round rookie on 3rd down? And this guy can block, he can chip. And I mean, obviously he can pass protect, but he can also go forward and block if asked. If you were to go to a pony style of offense, if you were to go to a 2-back set with Tootin or ETN and use Allen Jr. as, a fullback as your leading blocker, he thrives in that role too. And I haven't seen a lot of that, but that's the book on him. We know about his pass protect and we know about his hands. That's another big part of this that really has to come into consideration. And if you listen to us during camp, you shouldn't be shocked. If they didn't have the confidence in these running backs already as rookies, I think Tank would have been more involved on Sunday, and I think Tank would still be around here. They really believe they found something in their 4th-round pick and 7th-round pick. And for the record, I don't think this changes for next year. If I was a betting guy again, I would be under the belief that Travis Etienne does not return to this football team next year. I just don't think it's going to be the case. I may be wrong. Told you I'd give you the defensive alignment numbers. Let me see if I can find them. Yada, yada, yada. 77-76 says, Bully yesterday was a salty Monday for me. Giving Jaguar fans their flowers so they can congrats to great and yada, yada. Trevor and Travis. Good. So, all right, yeah. It's basically your way of coming out and telling us that it's a good deal. 8007, the timeout Liam called before dialing up the in around with Brian Thomas Jr. made me even more of a believer. Talk about a coach being connected to the flow of the game and the game script. It's a very good point by you. And I would also like to add to that equation their first 4th and 1. Going back to Diami Brown, the same play that they ran against Pittsburgh in the preseason. And again, my emotions during that play was, wait a minute here, okay? I don't want to see a reverse. I want to see him play man football. And then that changed as it really settled in that that's what Liam Cohen does. And he did it during the opener, the same play. And now later he proved on 4th and 1 when he played that man football. That was great. Double type, brought in a 3rd tackle with Ed Olga and just smashed the football. The great block by Brenton Strange. So it was impressive to see that. No question about it. All right. We got much more to do till 8 o'clock tonight. Then Hacker Nation is going to join you. Again, a big day coming up tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. The Philly Godfather is going to join us on Wednesday with all of his picks. And I'll tell you right now, we'll do the Jags at the Bengals. We'll do Florida LSU. We'll do Georgia Tennessee. I'm going to see what I'll do with the other game. Maybe Miami South Florida. Right around the same points as it was last week when it was South Florida and Florida. So the Philly Godfather tomorrow night and all sorts of stuff coming from the Miller Electric Center when the Jaguars get back to work on Wednesday.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
This is Jaguar Hall of Famer Tony Miscellaneous telling you about Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and home remodeling company. With over 25 years of trusted experience, Heritage of North Florida has built a reputation for quality, reliability, and craftsmanship. Whether you need a new roof or updating your kitchen or bathroom, trust the pros at Heritage of North Florida to create the perfect place to call home. Mention Jaguars to get $1,500 off your next roof or kitchen remodel when you go to heritagenfl.com. Go Jags.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Florida heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ. KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJacks.com. KOElectricJacks.com.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Cancer Center offers on-site imaging and other diagnostic services. Early detection saves lives. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Frank Franzi here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Morton Anderson missing a chip shot field goal that launched the Jags into the playoffs in '96? You know who doesn't miss? Coil Fencing. Coil has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida since 1927. Heck, Coil has been installing fences since before Emery Ballard installed the wishbone offense. If you need a new fence, I recommend calling Coil Fence today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. Coil Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Helmets and Heels is returning to Vegas. If you're heading out for the big game, join us at Circa Resort and Casino this October for a Halloween weekend football getaway, featuring Circa room discounts and a huddle up for everyone in the teal and black. Meet Helmets and Heels Friday night, October 31st, then hit the Circa Stadium Swim with temperature-controlled pools and a massive betting screen. For Circa room discounts and more information, visit the 1010XL webpage or circalasvegas.com/huddleup-up.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
It's ET here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
Summer's wrapping up, and life is picking back up. Early mornings, long days, and a to-do list that doesn't quit. And neither should you. Who has time to slow down due to body pain? That's why there's Aleve to keep you going. With just one pill, Aleve delivers longer-lasting body pain relief per dose compared to other leading OTC branded pain relievers. Aleve helps keep you moving from sunup to sundown with up to 12 hours of pain relief per dose, so you can keep moving and be ready for whatever's next. Use as directed.
Kuhn Flowers announces their home holiday decorating team is now taking orders for the holiday season. This is JJ with 1010XL. No more hassling with tree buying, untangling, and hanging burned out lights. Call on Kuhn Flowers, they'll do it all.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Well, the big news is still on the heels of the Tank Bigsby move to Philadelphia. Jacksonville picks up a 5th and 6th round pick next year. Jaguars now with 13 picks. They don't have a first rounder, but they have 13 of them. And, we just talked about the tight end situation. That was the second most as far as grouping offensive grouping that Liam Cohen used a year ago in Tampa. Well, that was the case as well on Sunday. The 12 alignment, which is, one running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 16 of the 66 snaps. This according to Ryan O'Halloran of the Florida Times Union. 44 was the 11, which is 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. But they do want to run the ball, and they went to double tight 16 times. The one thing that I wanted to look at as well from O'Halloran, because we talked about blitzing and how that's a mistake, certainly with Joe Burrow. Jacksonville rushed 5 or more in 7 of the 32 dropbacks by Bryce Young on Sunday.
The 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Yeah, you got to imagine that, Hack, things are so great around here because the Jaguars got off on the right foot. Jaguar fans elated. But I've been reading a lot out of Cincinnati, and the numbers do not support Joe Burrow playing poorly on Sunday. It is incredible how he bounces back when they are not productive the week before on offense.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at this, 3 days ago, I didn't think the Jaguars had a prayer of going to Cincinnati and winning. And because of what I saw against Carolina, I give them a puncher's chance now. And that's all you can really ask for. And the narrative is already bothering me. Oh, the Jaguars beat a bad football team in Carolina. And I'm even hearing that from a bunch of Jaguar fans. And I brought this up last night. Yeah, that bad football team, Carolina, had more wins than the Jaguars did last year. And that bad football team, Carolina, has a second-year coaching staff compared to a first-year staff here with Liam Cohen. So you take victories anywhere you can get them. I mean, for crying out loud, the Jaguars have been the worst team in football, and it hasn't been close for the last 15 years. You just absolutely pummeled a team that had a better record than you in 2024. Enjoy it, because it's going to be a much tougher challenge this Sunday going to Cincinnati.
Yeah, it almost feels like the tone out of Cincinnati is that they lost that game.
I was talking to a guy up there earlier today, my guy Jay Morrison with BengalsTalk.com, and we'll talk with him later in the week as well. They were just relieved, or the vibe that he was giving me is there was relief from the organization, because they'd started 0-2 like the last 4 or 5 years in a row. They're 1-11 in weeks 1 and 2 now under Zach Taylor. They just don't win the first 2 weeks of the year. So it was an ugly win. Quite frankly, Cleveland should have beat them. Cleveland missed a couple of kicks. But I think it's kind of pressure is off now because they finally won an opener with Zach Taylor as head coach.
What is his brother Colin plays?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a weird anomaly. That's why Cincinnati had never played anybody in the preseason. Burrow had never played in the preseason. Jamar Chase never did. They played substantially in this preseason trying to switch things up because they had been so bad in the first 2 weeks of the regular season.
What are you going to do tonight? We got 48 hours with no football.
Yeah. I mean, we're still living in euphoria over the win over Carolina. We'll start turning the page a little bit, talking about Cincinnati. I got the head coach Dave Campo and the coach Mark Duffner. Got over 90 years of coaching experience joining me tonight. Love talking to those two guys. Campo relocated to Dallas, but he's only a phone call away. We're going to still have Coach on a bunch. And then we're going to talk Florida and Florida State. I'm going to give you my short list for who I want Florida to hire when Billy Napier is ultimately fired, probably coming up here in the next, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks.
Have a blast.
Thanks, Rick.
There he goes. That is Hacker Nation. And should be interesting. Yeah, that whole Florida deal. Man, but I've been there before. You've been there before. Probably shouldn't have fired Dan Mullen. Probably should have gotten his act straight. What was he, 31-9? That sounds pretty good now. With what has happened there. All right, thank you to Mark Duffner. Hey, look at this chimed in. Marcus Matrix, a.k.a. Fatso, the Big Baby Drip. We played your song yesterday, Big Baby Drip. Maybe we'll play it again tomorrow. It's going to be a big Wednesday around here with the Philly Godfather, John Osher, and some interviews from the Jaguars locker room. For Dylan Denmark, I'm Rick Ballou. We'll talk tomorrow at 6.